Boy, it's early. But we're going to Seattle, people. Going to meet a literary legend, one of my favorite writers, someone who has a lifetime of inspired work with integrity, writing that I really admire. So we're gonna go see if we can't learn something from him and get into some misadventures. We got a full moon out there. But yeah, I'm a little bit too tired to think or speak. I had strange dreams, when you know you have to wake up super early, so it keeps you sleeping very lightly. But off to Seattle, I have some things that I want to ask him, some things that I hope to talk about, and that's it. I'll see you at the airport. Time to embarrass myself a little bit. Made it to University of Washington. I packed some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because I'm about 4 years old. And then I'm gonna read some of how we got here that wrote, and also gonna read some materials related to what we're gonna do this evening. So Roland Barthes' essay, and also a couple interviews that did about this subject. So anyway, I'm gonna go to the library now, eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and read, take some notes, get ready. I think I've got like two and a half hours before we meet up, and that's it. See ya. All right, so just got out of the library, and now I'm headed to meet up with. Yeah, I read some of how we got here. He released 2 books in 2024. Yeah, both about truth, reality, and Trump. So I read that for a while, and then I just took some notes on some major themes and questions that I had. How this idea of truth, spectacle, what's the distinction between that and this kind of essayistic genre, this like Herzog and Degata ecstatic truth, performative truth, how that could be bent in the essay. What's the distinction between that and literary fiction, which tries to be realism? It's like telling a lie to get at some ultimate fictional truth, I guess. But just thinking about like contemporary fiction versus this essayistic genre versus the like performative spectacle and that sort of approach where you weaponize truth and its malleability. That's what I want to talk about. I also brought a book for David. It's about the Marfa lights, because we talked when he read my book. He read some of my book, Lightspeed, that I was working on for a while, and he talked about his love for the Marfa lights. I think he went to Texas, saw the Marfa lights. So I want to give him this book, but I think that's it. I'm gonna go meet up with David. I'm about 5 minutes away, and then we're gonna head to his office and hopefully talk about some of the stuff in these books, and then we gotta go see this spectacle that we're gonna see later today. All right, that's it for me. Yeah, I've got room for quite a bit.
This is sort of a classic where I could see trapped for 3 hours. That could be a funny, very me kind of moment. To me, it was a really interesting exercise this morning, like just saying, God, here's these books I love so much, and took me like 5 minutes. Like I did it just immediately. And it was kind of fascinating. You know, it's like I didn't even have to think about it. There's this Jacques Lacan thing, which he says like the whole point of psychoanalysis is to come to a point at which that you just say and accept, this is me. And like these books, for better or worse, are me.
Are you?
You know.
David Shields' office.
You're also going to be.
I'm just going to get, you know, a couple B shots of you
Sure.
grabbing the books, basically.
Great.
You'll rip pages
You
off.
seemed appalled by that, Zach.
I don't know if I'm appalled or...
You know, like I treat them as what is their valuable goal?
Yeah.
I want the goal.
You know, if you have a gut feeling, especially of revulsion for a book, especially a book that's recommended, to just trust it.
100%.
You know, following that leads you down all these interesting
I couldn't agree more.
rabbit holes.
Really interested in your book In Progress, which just sort of ticks every box I'm interested in
Yeah.
practically, so I'm eager to see that. No pressure, of course, but I think if you go around being a professional provocateur, that's kind of boring.
Yeah.
Like, you try and find what ox to gore, and you go around goring the ox. I basically realize that all the moments I love in books are the essayistic moments.
Yes,
Where
yes,
someone
yes.
stops and breathes and thinks aloud. I mean,
I was jumping through all these hoops
right.
to tell the
and
truth.
you thought it felt
And I
like a
thought-
flow state
I
to you.
thought this was it. you
Yeah.
know? And then as I've been, you know, there was another kind of throwaway book in there too that was, I think I've been trying to shirk off my fictional craft moves.
Warhol was complaining about abstract expressionism. He wasn't a big fan of Rothko and Pollock. And the critic said, "You can't. There's no point in complaining about that stuff. This stuff is what people are painting and lauding right now, because you've got to create the next new thing."
Yeah.
And in a way that then became the birth of, for better or worse, of pop art.
Yeah.
And so that I'm really interested in this idea that you have to create that new thing, or try to. I don't know if
Right.
you consciously do it.
That'd
I
be
thought it
really
was,
good.
I don't know how you'll edit it, but I thought we talked for 2 hours. I mean,
Yeah.
we had like, I feel like some good stuff. So Zach, we're going to go to, what's it called? We don't even know what it's called.
WWE SmackDown.
SmackDown. And it's being
SmackDown.
filmed nationally.
Yeah, tonight.
And the challenge is that our goal, of course, is to be thrown out on national TV. Right, Zach? So anyway, why are we going to SmackDown, Zach?
I'm not sure.
Who's going to be here? They said The Rock or somebody. You know, here we are talking about how to pronounce E.M. Sharon, and now, and not just bookish, but like super, like, you know, kind of pretentious, like.
Maybe the Bart essay is what gets us kicked out.
And maybe the farther I park away from WWE, the better.
Says it's a garage.
Where? A right on Warren or no? That's what I think, that we're here to test our theories and, you know, be inside the spectacle. I'm not going here to say, oh, these people are idiots. I mean, maybe I'll feel that. Maybe I'll be oddly fascinated. I don't know. Yeah.
Interesting choice. I think... All right, here we go. Arcs of like, wow, this is really fun. I can see
Yeah.
how fun this is for people.
Right.
I'm caught up in it.
Yeah.
Other times I was bored.
Yeah.
Other times I was kind of sad.
Yeah.
And all these acrobatics are going on and they're not responding. Suddenly it wasn't interesting anymore.
I don't know. Sometimes it was like you were watching a gymnastics meet.
Yeah.
This is it. There's nothing here. There's
Yeah.
There's zero here.
Yeah.
And I did feel that quite a lot.
Oh boy.
I'm about as dead as possible. Come lie down. Come lie down with me. I've got, it's commercials right now, but it's, what's the worst Indiana Jones movie? Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I've got Kingdom of the Crystal Skull on mute. There are people that are partying next door. Maybe I'll go party with them. Probably. Who am I kidding? I'm not gonna party with them.
Let's see. Can I get a little side? How about that? Relaxing angle.
Oh yeah. Okay. Man, what a day. Woke up at 4:50 something. Caught a flight that left just before 7 a.m. Got out here straight to the university. From the university, I went to the Harry Potter library. Got kind of hopped up on tea, and then I walked over to meet David. From then on, like noon to probably 7:30, we were just talking straight. The fact that he was down to do this, the fact that I don't know, it felt like a little bit like he was the elder. And it also felt like he was welcoming me in a little bit and setting the stage for my book. He had a lot of nice things to say about my book that he didn't have to. I mean, we talked about it off camera too, and then he chose to talk about it on camera. I think he had fun, you know? I think he had a really good time. We were gonna do like a 30-minute long book tour, and it ended up being over 2 hours. And it went from talking specifically about these books to the writing process to the essay gesture that we're so interested in, that my writing has just pushed me towards. And I think David Shields has, as someone who's been doing this for 25, 30 years, has definitely like pointed me and helped me in my writing. Let's see what we've got on the TV. Can I watch it from this angle? Oh yeah. What a crazy movie. This movie is like a parody of Indiana Jones movies, which are great, but Crystal Skull is a pantomime. It's no good. Don't watch the Crystal Skull. Oh man. So David was super supportive. He was very eager and excited to talk. And I was already like zonked when we decided to go on our actual kind of the real bulk, the real meat of what we wanted to do today, go on this adventure. But then we walked from his office to his car, and in that walk, I feel like the ideas really got flowing and we really got excited. And I definitely feel like we disparaged contemporary literary fiction. And a lot of that's true. I mean, it's my true feeling about literary realism. And I don't think that people who write it are bad people, and I don't think the books are, should be burned or anything like that. But they're obviously and immediately not for me, increasingly more so as I continue to write. And then we went to the WWE, and when the crowd was silent, this whole idea that we had built up around wrestling and artifice and the malleability of fiction and reality and truth. And when the crowd was silent and this didn't have this roar of energy, of support behind it, I just felt sad, I felt sad that we live in an autocracy and we're headed in these directions that we have no control over. And I felt scared sometimes. And then, you could see or feel a group of people just in front of us or just behind us love it so much and have so much adoration, and they would chant and do the cheers, the catchphrases, and they had this wholehearted joy watching this, and not like childlike, they were just people that just enjoyed this world. But then someone projectile vomited maybe 2-3 seats away from me,
and they vomited on this dude's back, and he had his shirt, he had to leave. He was holding his shirt like off of his back because the vomit was seeping through his shirt onto his skin. I don't know. It was just like that whole spectacle felt like an idea going to die to me. And I don't know, like, it felt almost right in that way. Like, to do this whole thing, have this whole day with David Shields and be talking about books and inspiration and, you know, talking about my writing and his writing, and then this like ultimate, you know, pinnacle moment wasn't there. And it just felt such a reminder of like, like in the end, there isn't some perfect ideal, perfect book, perfect novel, perfect way to write, perfect way to convey ideas and your questions and your theories, you know. It's just people projectile vomiting on one another. And there wasn't any more to say or to see as soon as that person projectile vomited on the like 5 or 6 people below us. That was it. I don't know. In the end, you know, you go see David Shields and then you still have to go write a great book. And then you put out the great book and people like it or don't like it. It does well or it doesn't do well. And then you have to put out another good book. So it's like, every time I have some sort of like big thing, you know, going to hang out with David Shields, literary legend, and how cool is that, you know, peer to peer, hanging out with David Shields, and then time to go home, time to write the book, you know. I think I'm in love with the process. There's something so, all of it is in sitting down day over day and worshiping in this process. To me, it's almost like I have to pull myself out of process and actually like do things like this, you know, so that I can have an avenue to put work out into, so that I can continue to have the process. But above and all else, above making YouTube videos or hanging out with David Shields or whatever sort of exploit, like above all else, above putting the book out, above the debut, it's process. That's it. That's all that matters, is cultivating that time every day and having that be the most rich and focused and human time, where I feel like I'm a human, I feel alive. Yeah. I'm also not a freak, you know. I want that in my relationships. I want that in my daily life. And I feel also that like I've nourished and cultivated that in my writing process. Just every day, more and more human, more and more human, more and more human. I'm just learning to be a human being. Every day I write. And all of this stuff is great. And I love it. I'm so happy and thankful. Like, what a fucking crazy day. I'll remember forever. And I just still can't wait to go home and write my, you know, my little project, work on my little project.